that we're going to do everything we can to protect you. And I'm hoping New Yorkers are seeing it is everyone who is a New Yorker, everyone who's here, it can be you at any moment in time. The Supreme Court has now said that folks can use racial profiling, can use accents, a whole host of things to provide harm to come to you. The one thing I will say that gives me some hope is in a few months, we are going to have a mayor who actually cares about New Yorkers and who will be here joined with us, saying that we have a united front against what's happening here and the authoritarian president. Lastly, I'll say, and we haven't confirmed yet, but I've heard from reputable folks that this may have come off a simple social media post highlighting the vendors that are happening on Canal Street. Being how simple this president is, I would not be surprised that he wanted to give a show of force based on something like that. We are in very scary times. We're asking New Yorkers, it's time to step up, but it's really important that you don't engage in behavior, don't follow people who are trying to engage in behavior that will give them the excuse they're looking for to further invade New York City with a show of military force. Thank you so much.
Thank you, New York City Public Advocate. This is, as was just mentioned, a show of force. When have you ever seen military vehicles speeding across New York City?
For vendors.
For vendors, street vendors, trying to make a living. When have you ever seen individuals dressed up as if they are in the military, patrolling our streets? You don't see these scenes in democracies. You see them in fascist regimes.
That's right.
And we need to continue to stand up and fight back, because democracies are only as strong as their citizenry. Next up, join me in welcoming up to the mic New York City Comptroller Brad Lander.
Thanks very much, Murad, for convening us. Let's be clear, street vendors are not a national security threat. They are not a national security threat. For many of us, they're a big part of what makes New York City, New York City. There is no excuse for sending military-style vehicles and a national law enforcement response for street vendors, whether they were sourced from social media or otherwise. And I'll remind people, you know, we're amidst a federal shutdown. There's not the money to make sure that people have their health care premiums, but what there is a federal government with weaponized law enforcement, creating the largest law enforcement agency to try to strike fear and terror into people who are trying to earn a living. Street vendors are not a national security threat. I want to raise, I wasn't out there on Canal Street or at 26 Federal Plaza later, but yesterday several of us, the public advocate and I, and Councilmember Aviles and Congressman Goldman, were out calling on the NYPD to clarify what they are going to do in situations exactly like what happened today. Are they going to help make sure the laws are enforced in New York City, that people can't be kidnapped without due process by masked agents who don't identify themselves or present any lawful reason for taking people off the streets? And what it sounds like is there were NYPD officers at Canal Street who stood back and observed and let the whole thing happen, and then came down here. And again, from the protesters that I talked to, looked like they were on the side of the ICE agents and not on the side of New Yorkers. So I have not yet had time to review that footage, but I will just renew the request that we made yesterday to Commissioner Tisch to make sure that what NYPD are doing is helping keep New Yorkers safe. And that includes street vendors who are often quite lawfully vending on the streets of our city. And if they need to call the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection or the Department of Sanitation to figure it out, let's keep it there. Because part of what we have to do, as the public advocate said, is make sure that we're not providing any provocation for escalation. But what we need to all be doing, and that includes the NYPD as well as the New Yorkers who show up to say ICE out of New York, is do it in a way that has the backs and keeps the peace here in New York City. You know, I said over the weekend that in Portland they have cartoon frogs and naked bike rides. What we have in New York City are street vendors and outdoor dining and the public life of this city. And so the way for all of us to show up is to keep each other safe, to show up, to say to ICE, we don't want you here, we don't need you here. So I'll just say, if you're a New Yorker tonight thinking, what could I do? Tomorrow, patronize a street vendor. Like that's what New York City looks like. You want to do something tomorrow that says, I've got the backs of immigrant New Yorkers. I'm on the side of this beautiful, diverse city. I am against Donald Trump sending troops here for street vendors. Check out your fellow street vendor, patronize one of them, and show up and do what you can in the spirit of a peaceful, loving, welcoming New York City to say, we know street vendors are not a national security threat. We want ICE out of New York City. And we're going to show up for this fight in that tradition, nonviolent civil disobedience, and in the spirit of New Yorkers. Thank you.
Thank you. One other thing New Yorkers can do is don't wait for this to happen again. Start organizing your communities. Start getting to know your neighbors. Start getting to know your local organizations, mutual aids, and be there for one another. This is the moment. We are not asking people to do anything that they are uncomfortable with, but peacefully resist. This is the moment that we need to step up for one another. Next up, join me in welcoming up to the mic the New York City Council Immigration Chair, Alexa Vilas.
Thank you. Buenos días a todos. Voy a empezar a hablar en español. Esta noche hemos visto que ICE estaba en nuestra ciudad. Ellos vinieron con una violencia hasta vendedores ambulantes aquí en el parte de Manhattan, Canal Street. Y les dimos a todos, tienen que conocer sus derechos. No tienes que decir nada. No le ayuda a este patrulla tan violento a hacer su trabajo. Exigí no decir nada. No firmes nada. No dejen que pongan sus manos en sus bolsillos. No te pueden hacer buscar en sus lugares personales sin consentimiento. No le des consentimiento. No abra su puerta. Y a los neoyorquinos que no están afectados para esta violencia que nos trae Trump a nuestra ciudad, por favor, usen sus teléfonos para ver lo que está pasando. Manténgase seguro. No se ponga adelante de uno de estos violentos de ICE. Y por favor, ayuden a sus vecinos. Si ven algo, diga algo. Si ven que si son violentos, digan algo. Estamos en un momento muy importante para nuestra ciudad. Nosotros nos cuidamos. Y es importante que el Trump, lo que está trayendo en esta ciudad, no lo necesitamos. Si él quiere la seguridad de nuestra ciudad, hay otras maneras como invertir en nuestras personas. Traer agentes militares, ICE, para perseguir vendedores ambulantes de una manera tan violenta. Sinceramente los rechazamos y decimos no a ICE en nuestra ciudad. So I'm just going to quickly say, we wholeheartedly reject the violence that ICE is bringing to our city. Subjecting street vendors to this kind of violence is deplorable, and we say no. But we ask New Yorkers to stand up and organize, to protect your fellow New Yorkers, to make sure that you maintain distance, make sure that you maintain your own personal safety. But we say no to this violence in New York City. And lastly, yes, there are people who are agitating for violence. And those people are most likely from this administration. And we say no to you too. We will continue to stand up in solidarity, to stand peacefully and non-violently, to ensure that New Yorkers are safe from this violent threat that Trump and his minions are bringing to this city. And it is important to note that this is happening under the Eric Adams administration, who is not here right now. to say that this is unacceptable. But my colleagues and I are here today to say absolutely not. ICE out of New York City. Thank you.
Can you say that last part in Spanish?
¿De qué? ¿De la calle?
Empezando porque tú crees que las personas que están quitando de una forma violenta pertenecen probablemente también a Trump y que el alcalde no está aquí en esa parte.
Ok, lo digo brevemente, por favor. Sabemos que hay personas que están provocando la violencia y sabemos que esas personas son sumamente con esta administración de Trump, porque ellos quieren provocar violencia, pero aquí estamos pacíficamente diciendo no y protegiendo a nuestra comunidad. Y para que todos sepan, el alcalde de la ciudad de Nueva York, Eric Adams, no está aquí, no está en la calle asegurando la seguridad de nuestros vecinos. Y eso es muy importante. Esta violencia está aquí por Trump y Eric Adams está desaparecido. Gracias.
Thank you. Next up, we're going to welcome to the mic some of our council members who've joined us. We're going to speak very quickly. Welcome up to the mic, council members Hudson, Caban, Juan, Nurse, and Hanif.
Thank you very much. My name is Crystal Hudson. I represent a district in Brooklyn. The reason why we were all able to mobilize here so quickly is because there's a network of organizations, of nonprofits, and of elected officials who are in constant communication with one another. What we need to do now in this time is to make sure that New Yorkers create their own networks of support for neighbors, for friends, for other New Yorkers, for family members. We need to make sure that we are showing in strength and numbers that ICE is not welcome here in New York City. We need to do it loudly, we need to do it proudly, and we will all stand beside one another in ensuring that Trump gets our message that ICE is not welcome here in New York City.
My name is Councilmember Sandy Nurse. I'm the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus. I wanted to lift up one of our caucus members, Councilmember Chris Marte's district. And he was here earlier. He was also down on Canal Street fighting for his community, standing in solidarity with the vendor community all afternoon. So I just want to note that he was here. I think what we're seeing is just an escalation of Trump's war on American cities. Cities that are run by Democratic leaders. And I do believe what the public advocate said, this is just the start of what's to come. And as New Yorkers, we are going to defend ourselves. We are going to defend our communities, and we are not going to allow this just to happen. So New Yorkers, as everyone has said to you today, we need you to get into this fight. We need you to learn your rights. We need you to join an organization. We need you to be plugged in. We cannot just allow tanks to run through the largest city in this country. We cannot let that happen. So we need you to be here with us. And I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Councilmember Caban.
Hi, I don't want to repeat anything that has been said. My name is Councilmember Tiffany Caban. I represent the 22nd District in Queens. And, you know, the truth is that by all of the data and evidence compiled by NYPD and other police databases across the country, sanctuary cities are safer per capita than non-sanctuary cities. I'm going to say that one more time. Sanctuary cities per capita are safer than non-sanctuary cities. This administration would like you to believe that there is violent chaos in our streets, when in fact our policies are keeping people safe. And if he were serious about the safety of our neighbors here and across the country, he'd end the shutdown, make sure people are getting their benefits, and upholding the promises of this country to every single New Yorker, immigrants included. And my message also is to the folks that are being deployed. If you are a military member, if you are a federal law enforcement agent, you took oaths. And part of those oaths say that you do not, should not obey illegal, unconstitutional orders. So while we as elected officials stand up, while everyday neighbors stand up like we saw today on Canal Street in defense of their neighbors, you too can stand up and say no And it is incumbent on our leadership, the governor, the mayor, I'm not going to hold my breath there, but the incoming mayor, and the rest of us to provide that safe harbor for you to do the right thing. We cannot let go of anybody's hand in this fight. And I'm going to say very quickly in Spanish, ICE es cruel, violento y peligroso. Eso no tiene nada que ver con seguridad, esto es odio. ICE es una amenaza a nuestra libertad, a nuestras familias y nuestra democracia. Nos cuidamos entre nosotros. Nadie suelta la mano de nadie. So please, don't leave anybody behind. Tell your neighbors what you can offer them. Help, food, harbor. This is the time to do that. Thank you.
We'll answer that in a second.
Hi everyone, I'm Council Member Shahana Hanif. I'm a proud daughter of Bangladeshi Muslim immigrants. What we witnessed today in Chinatown should anger every single New Yorkers. This is yet another performance by our federal administration to divide us. We will not be divided. We are against ICE's blatantly violent tactics. Hordes of ICE agents showing up is unacceptable, immoral, unjust. We will not accept it. And as you can see, elected officials from city, state levels are united. We are a united front saying ICE needs to be outside. ICE needs to leave New York City, and we will protect one another. New York City will continue to be a sanctuary city. And now I also ask, while the mayor and the NYPD has said they have nothing to do with this, well, how will they respond and take care of New Yorkers? We want to hear from Mayor Adams. Thank you.
My name is Julie Won. I'm a council member representing Western Queens, the 26th district. I'm appalled by what just happened tonight. As a first generation immigrant that immigrated here in 1998, and as an Asian American that represents this city, the amount of phone calls and text messages I got of people crying because they had to run out of the restaurants they work at, of the laundromats they work at, the dry cleaners, of the bookstores, of the restaurants. They're fleeing their jobs. You are destabilizing our city's economy and our public safety because they could not get away from the sound of the helicopters, as well as blocks and blocks and blocks of 60 ICE officers and tanks in bulletproof armor and full guns. This is not the image of the freedom that United States represents. This is not the image of the city of New York that people come here for. Those very migrants who came across the Darien Gap or whatever it must have been came with desperation, with great hopes of what the city of New York represents for them, which is freedom and of peace. We will not stand by and allow this to happen. It is not okay for this to happen. We are telling all of the Asian American community members as well as community members wide that we are a sanctuary city. And as you see here, we're going to continue to stand up for our neighbors. And I echo the call of my colleagues of asking every single one of you in the city of New York to stand up for your neighbors and to join the fight. We will not just roll over and let you run over us. And we will continue to fight. We will protest, and we will get involved to make sure that every single person that enters 26 Federal Plaza has fair due process, which currently we are not seeing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to our New York City Council members for quickly mobilizing. For those who are watching at home, you feel the urge to take action, now is the time to do so. Join us at handsoffnewyorkcity.com to take action in this moment and learn about how you can join this effort. Next up, join me in welcoming up to the mic Natalia Aritzabal, the Deputy Director of Make the Road New York.
Muy buenas noches y muchas gracias. First I'll speak in Spanish and then in English. Estoy aquí para acompañar a la comunidad inmigrante y para decir que como otra inmigrante y como alguien que trabaja en una organización pro inmigrante, no vamos a dejar que vengan simplemente aquí a atacar a todas las comunidades. Vamos a estar unidos y vamos a estar defendiendo a nuestros vecinos. La belleza de Nueva York es que todos venimos de alguna parte y tenemos raíces de otras partes. Y cuando vemos que atacan a los vendedores ambulantes, cuando vemos que están atacando a trabajadores, en realidad nos van a estar atacando a todos nosotros porque todos nos beneficiamos de la labor inmigrante en esta ciudad. Absolutamente todo neoyorquino que vive en esta ciudad. Así que vamos a seguir llamando a las personas para que tomen acción, y cuando el gobierno quiere dar odio y que todas las personas tengan miedo, lo que ustedes tienen que buscar es amar al prójimo y estar ayudando a su vecino, y esa va a ser la única forma que vamos a estar seguros. Good evening, everyone. My name is Natalia Aristizábal. I'm the Deputy Director of Make the Road New York, and I'm here to say that what happened a su vecino, y esa va a ser la única forma que vamos a estar seguros. Good evening, everyone. My name is Natalia Aristizábal. I'm the Deputy Director at Make the Road New York, and I'm here to say that what happened to the street vendors tonight or this afternoon, it's outrageous. And what happens to one person impacts all of us. I don't know anybody who lives in New York City and does not interact with an immigrant and benefit from the labor of immigrant New Yorkers. Street vendors provide an economy that is a lower cost for folks who have a lower income and has been vital for our city. When the government wants to attack us and use its forces and its money to spread fear, what we have to do is the opposite. We have to know thy neighbor, organize with your building, with your block, in your community, with your church, and know that the only way that we're going to be safe is by watching each other's back, because clearly in this moment, seeing tanks and seeing ICE attacking street vendors, it is not a moment about whether there's danger or not. There is a moment about who they want out of our city, and we have to say, these are our neighbors, these are our colleagues, these are our fellow New Yorkers, and we're going to stand together.
Thank you. Again, for those who are watching at home who want to join and learn how they can fight back, join us at handsoffnewyorkcity.com. Next up, join me in welcoming the director of the Street Vendor Project, Mohammed Atiyah.
Thank you, Murad. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mohammed Atiyah. I'm the Managing Director of the Street Vendor Project. And it is a really sad moment to stand here before you, talk about the incident that took place earlier this afternoon. Seeing our street vendors, our smallest businesses, one of our hardest working communities being kidnapped by ICE agents and federal agents is something that we have been warning of for quite some time now. We have talked over and over again about the fact that vendors are vulnerable, they are out there, they are dealing with various law enforcement agencies on the local level, on the federal level now, they are interacting for the first time that we are aware of. And it's a very important moment for all New York City to stand up and make sure that we support our vendors. What we saw today is really breaking all the laws and violating all the constitutional rights. No one was served a warrant. No one was served their due process. No one was offered any legal support. Just in broad daylight, federal agents are kidnapping our vendors, and everyone is watching and everyone is shaming them. It is really troubling to see this happening today. We have warned of this for several months. We have talked to the mayor, we have talked to the council. We have said you need to do something. You need to provide protections for our vulnerable communities. You need to do something on the city level that serves the vendors and not treat them as criminals. But we saw what happened a couple of months ago. When the council passed a bill to stop the criminal tickets, the mayor vetoed it. So every vendor that received a criminal ticket since then is on the mayor's. It's on him. It's on Mayor Eric Adams. He's the reason why these vendors received a criminal ticket to begin with. It is really on every elected official on the local level that now street vendors are dealing with an outdated system, a system that sees them as criminals, a system that sends the enforcement at them and they don't have any protections. We need to make sure that we are doing our part here on the city level. We need to make sure that there is protections for everyone, all the immigrant communities, street vendors, workers, everyone across the city. And we want to make sure that we hold the federal government and the federal agents accountable to the law and the Constitution. This is something that is really hypocrite by these law and order people. They are breaking the law themselves. They are violating the Constitution themselves. And it is something that shouldn't be accepted here in New York City. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mohammed. Next up, join me in welcoming to the mic Assemblymember Stephen Raga.
Thanks so much. I'm State Assemblymember Steve Raga. I represent Western Queens. I'm a proud son of 2 Filipino immigrants here in New York. What happened today, it's a wake-up call for all New Yorkers across the city, across the state. They have goddamn tanks in downtown Manhattan. That's not what we're supposed to be seeing on the news this evening. And this is in response to hard-working immigrants just trying to make a living. These are our street vendors. These are just folks that they're not harming anybody here. And we should not see troops on the street in response to that. We should not see a tank in response to that. We should not have ICE here in response to that. All of them are those troops, the tank, ICE, they should be out of New York City. This is, we need all New Yorkers, not just folks out here. I'm happy to stand with our organizations, our council members, all of our colleagues in government here, because we need a united New York against this. We have a united New York, and we're going to make sure that we defend all our New Yorkers, all our immigrants, all our most vulnerable. And so I stand with the call to join us and to find ways to help push back on this sort of draconian measure, this dangerous measure out here that is really dangerous to just people just trying to make a living every day. So I'm happy to stand with our colleagues in government, stand with our organizations to make sure we fight back against this ridiculous administration and also protect our New Yorkers against ICE out of New York.
Thank you. Thank you, Assemblymember. Next up, join me in welcoming up to the mic the Executive Director, Ligia, from the Worker Justice Project.
So my name is Ligia Hualpa. I'm the Executive Director of the Workers Justice Project and Los Deliveristas Unidos. And I want to reaffirm, this is a call to action. First of all, this is a call to action to every immigrant New Yorker that is out there. You need to know your rights. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right, as it was said, you have the right to not to open the door. You have the right to not sign anything. But most importantly, I think it's important to recognize the streets of New York City is the workplace of thousands of immigrant New Yorkers, as street vendors and delivery workers and other outdoor workers. So we need to protect our streets. And there's a couple ways we can do that. The first of all, today's was a great example of the power of the solidarity of every New Yorker. We need to start building emergency groups to show up to protect essential workers. The second thing is, this is also a call to action to New York City Council. There is couple legislations that could be powerful tools to protect New Yorkers. There is a package of street vendors legislations that will allow the vendors to legally vend in the city of New York without the fear of interacting with NYPD and being terrorized. The second, there is a Deliverista Bill 1332 that would allow Deliveristas to fight back the pressure of the apps to avoid being issued criminal summons by New York City Mayor Adams, who issued 2 policies that it's aimed at criminalizing the people who are feeding New York, the people who put their own safety for this city. So this is an opportunity to protect, to defend the people who are in our streets, feeding every New Yorker, keeping every New Yorker safe. So let's stand together, let's unite together to protect our streets, to defend our city, to defend our state.
Thank you, Ligia. Again, for those watching, for those who want and feel compelled to stand up for our democracy, for our communities, our families and our friends, please visit handsoffnewyorkcity.com to sign up and learn how you can join this fight. Our last speaker will be Reverend Chloe Breyer of the Interfaith Center.
Thank you so much. I think what we saw, as someone already said, was a wake-up call with the attack on street vendors this evening. Our city is made up of houses of worship, of communities of faith that contribute to our democracy. And if you have not yet asked your pastor, your imam, your rabbi what their plan is for your congregation to protect the people in your pews, or the people at your soup kitchen, or the people who have come to your clothing closet, or the people who you see across the neighborhood. How will you protect your neighbors and your people? This is the moment to ask. And as you just heard, signing up for Hands Off New York is a way to do it. If you want to contact your local elected leader and say, how can my congregation mobilize to resist this incursion from the federal government? And finally, New York Interfaith NYIC and ICNY are places you can go as well. Ask your pastor what the plan is. Thank you.
Thank you. As we go into almost more than 2 weeks of a federal government shutdown, again, we witnessed our federal government use federal military resources against its own citizenry here in New York City. You do not see that in thriving democracies. You see that in fascist entities and regimes. While people are fighting, continuously fighting to survive, our federal government, instead of investing in its people, continues to invest against them. Now is the time for everyone to take action. Thank you, and we'll take a few questions right there. So right now, the numbers are in flux because we are trying to get an accurate count, but it is anywhere between 15 to 40 people who were taken at Canal Street. We are still trying to verify the number. 2 people were arrested on Canal Street for chanting and then being assaulted by federal law enforcement. And as we're speaking right now, people are protesting on the Broadway side of 26 Federal Plaza and being met with violence again. And at least 2 people have been arrested there. So right now, we don't have the hard number. We will continue to try to find that out and try to provide whatever support is possible in this moment. Question in the back? I can't hear you. So the people... The question is, no one is in communication with them. They're in that building. And once they were taken, it becomes a black box until they interface with anyone. There are legal services available for those who are in need of legal services. Visit the New York State Office of New Americans, ask them for an immigration legal consult, and then be able to be prepared to have that information. For the individuals who are in there, people will continuously try to get access to them to provide them with representation.
Just for clarification, you said 15 to 40 people. Were those people who were street vendors?
Yes, street vendors who were abducted by ICE. And then 2, yes, we're trying to verify the number. In addition, 2 U.S. citizens were arrested while protesting. Well, actually, before we wrap up, I want to give him an opportunity to speak since he responded with us. Councilmember Chris Marte, who showed up to Canal Street with us when this was all happening. We already closed, but if you want to share a few words, please do so.
Thank you for being here. I want to thank for all the coalition partners and advocates who are here and saw what I saw today. Today, once the arrest started happening, I got to the corner of Canal and Church within 20 minutes. And at first I saw 7 agents around 1 individual. Eventually we saw 30. Eventually we saw 50. And then I counted up to 70 or 80. And these weren't, regular officers. These were a militarized force on our streets. We saw a truck that I haven't seen since the days after 9/11 in this district. This is a response to people protesting against this administration. Not just the federal government, but also this mayor that's allowing this to happen. One of the questions I was asked after the incident, the situation that we saw, was what can the council do? It's what can this mayor do to enforce the laws that already exist. We're a sanctuary city. And if we don't act, this is going to become the normal, just like it is in Chicago, in Los Angeles. But I'm glad that we're here as advocates, as neighbors, as New Yorkers, standing up and fighting for other New Yorkers. The one glimmer of hope I saw throughout this whole situation today was that everyday New Yorkers, business owners, bystanders, people coming out of school, came and told those officers to stop, to get their hands off of those New Yorkers, those people that are trying to just do their job every day, that are being targeted by this administration. And so we're going to be here, we're going to keep on fighting, we're going to keep on educating our community, because today cannot be the standard, cannot be a precedent, because it puts all our lives in danger. I saw an officer push the press, tackle the press, push bystanders, take a guy, throw him on the ground. I took photos right in front of an elected official taking photos, and it did not change their behavior. This is where we're at right now. And so we have to stand together. We have to fight together, because this isn't over. It's just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to close the presser. We're happy to do questions as we're walking all up together to Broadway, where the police are escalating against protesters there. Thank you.